Imagine a world where you had to pay $50 for your morning coffee at your local coffee shop. Ridiculous, right? No one would ever pay that much for a coffee. For most people, coffee is a necessity and something you might buy each and every day, which would be impossible for almost everyone with such a price. But what if I told you that you are in fact paying that much for your coffee 30 years down the road? Now, before you skip this video thinking I'm some crazy guy that believes I'm from the future, hear me out. I'm not making this video to try to take away your morning coffee. A lot of creators on YouTube will tell you to take away every luxury in your life to save some extra pennies to invest, but that is not my point. I'm a coffee enthusiast myself, and if buying proper good coffee is one of your luxuries you treat yourself with in life, or something you need to get you through the day, I don't think it's something you should stop buying. I'm simply using coffee as an example to tell you about something extremely important to know about if you want to build wealth. This is investing in a nutshell. First, we need to talk about the eighth wonder of the universe, at least according to Albert Einstein, which is the great power of compound interest. In short, compound interest is the interest earned on both the principal amount and the accumulated interest of a deposit or investment over time. This creates the so-called snowball effect. That might not make it any clearer, so let's make an example instead. Let's say you invest $1,000 when you're 26 years old, and you get an annual return of 8% on that investment for 40 years until retirement. That $1,000 would have then turned into $21,725. Amazing, right? Now, if you would get 22% annualized returns for the same period, which Warren Buffett actually managed for such a time period, how much do you think your $1,000 would have turned into? If you compare an 8% and a 22% return for 1 year, it's only $140 difference. But already after 5 years, the difference would be more than your initial $1,000. And after 40 years? After 40 years with an annual return of 22%, your $1,000 turned into almost $3 million. If that's not blowing your mind, I don't know what will. And the craziest thing about compound interest is that more than $500,000 of your profits was from the last year alone. Warren Buffett is today one of the world's richest people, worth around $100 billion. But did you know that he didn't even become a billionaire before he turned 60? So 99% of his fortune has been made in his last 30 years, even though he had been a successful investor for more than 40 years already. Now let's get back to the coffee. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I'm not going to try to take away your coffee. My goal with this video is to help you build a mindset that over time can bring you great wealth. And the concept we're going to talk about is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost refers to the value of the best alternative foregone when a choice is made between two or more options. It's the cost of choosing one option over another and represents the benefits that could have been gained from the next best alternative that was not chosen. In other words, it is the cost of what you have to give up in order to choose something else. In the world of investing, opportunity cost usually refers to the potential benefits you could have gained from an alternative investment that you didn't choose. This is a very important concept to understand when investing, because every investment choice has an opportunity cost, and therefore it's important to weigh your options carefully. In this video, I will actually not focus on opportunity cost when choosing which investment to go for. I believe the concept of opportunity cost is much more important to be aware of in our everyday lives. People always talk about sacrifices needed to be made in order to be able to invest and in the future get more financial freedom. But the breakthrough for many investors is when it stops feeling like sacrifices to spend your extra money investing instead of buying unnecessary luxuries. Let's say you live next to a coffee shop and buy yourself a coffee for $3 every day during the year. Assuming you do so for 365 days a year, this adds up to $1,095. Your friend, on the other hand, doesn't drink coffee, and she thinks spending more than $1,000 a year on coffee sounds crazy. She's investing that same amount in an index fund that averages an annual return of around 10%. 30 years go by, and even though it might be far-fetched these days, in this example, there is no inflation during this period. In 30 years, you would have spent a total of $32,850 on your morning coffees, and your friend would have invested the same amount in the index fund. Your $32,850 are long gone, but your friend's money have turned into a small fortune. How much? $190,965. That's enough to buy an apartment or even a house depending on where you live. But as I said in the beginning of this video, I'm not going to take away your morning coffee. Instead, I will show you what might happen if you make your own coffee for the next 30 years. Let's assume you will spend around 50 cents a day, which adds up to $182.50 a year. You invest the $2.50 you have left each day, or $912.50 a year. After 30 years with an annual return of 10%, your portfolio will now be worth $158,231, and you will only have spent $5,475 on coffee instead of $32,850. In this example, the opportunity cost of buying a $3 coffee every morning for 30 years, instead of making your own for 50 cents and investing the rest, is $158,231. If you skip one coffee and invest the amount instead, assuming you get the annual 10% return, it will in fact turn into more than $50 after 30 years. When I realized that, it changed everything for me. Instead of trying to motivate myself to, let's say, invest 20% of my salary, I started thinking about the opportunity cost of not investing that money. That switch in mindset is now making me strive for as high savings rate as my economy can handle. Telling people to save their coffee money is maybe one of the biggest cliches within the personal finance sphere on YouTube, probably because it's easy to relate to, and that the majority of people will be able to put aside such an amount of money. But the coffee is not the point. Here are my two most important reasons to implement the concept of opportunity cost in your everyday life. 1. It stops you from buying things you don't need. There are things in life everyone needs to spend money on, like food and shelter. But there are also many things we buy that we don't really need. Some people spend a lot of money on the latest tech gadgets, and some people spend loads of money on interior in their homes. In any way, I can promise you that if you start thinking about the opportunity cost of buying those things, instead of investing that money, you will make less spontaneous and more rational and thought-through purchases. Even necessities like shelter have opportunity cost. Of course you need a place to live. But what is the opportunity cost of paying $200 a month extra to live in a nicer area or have some extra square feet? 2. It makes it more motivating to invest small amounts of money. Some years ago, I never thought much of my smaller everyday purchases. I could easily waste $3 here and there during the week without thinking that it had any noticeable impact on my finances. Today, when considering such purchases, I think about the $50 30 years down the road. I can't tell you how many unnecessary purchases that has stopped me from making. You might feel that investing $3 doesn't really make an impact on your financial future, but even small amounts can grow big with the power of compound interest. And if you stop focusing on the $3 you spend and start focusing on avoiding the $50 opportunity cost, I promise you that your savings rate will increase. Thank you for watching.